This is Richard Wolff from Democracy at Work with another Wolff Responds, this time to the fakeries and the realities behind the fakeries in the so-called debate between Republicans and Democrats in Washington over whether and how to extend the supports for the mass of people horribly affected first by the virus and then by the collapse of our economic system. On the one hand, we have the Democrats. They want to continue the $600 supplemental help for the unemployed for their weekly checks. And on the other hand, we have the Republicans who don't want to do that, who want to either cut it out altogether or to reduce it, and who have another idea which the president now threatens to impose, namely to cut the payroll tax. And I want to tell you what's at stake in reality behind all the fakery. Everyone knows, Republicans and Democrats alike, that the American capitalist system is now on life support. That life support is governmental sustenance. The failure of private capitalism to prepare for or to contain the virus. The failure of private capitalism to prepare for or to contain the economic collapse have been matched, if not exceeded, by the government's parallel failures in both regards. Therefore, we have a system broken down and utterly dependent on the government. I find it charming that our conservatives carefully avoid discussing this topic since it makes a bad joke out of their consistent mockery of the government and celebration of what private capitalism could and would do better. Friends, it didn't protect the public health, and it didn't protect the public economy, and a system that fails to do that is a system that does no longer deserve our loyalty. But that's another topic. Back to the one in question. Why would Republicans want to lower the payroll tax and Democrats want to extend unemployment insurance? It's the same old difference once again. Republicans are really awful, as I will explain. The Democrats are a little less awful, but that's about it. Let's start with the Republicans. Why do they prefer to cut the help to the unemployed and to lower the portion of our weekly pay taken out for income tax instead? What's at stake here? It's really ugly, so get ready. The hope is that if you cut the $600 extra for people on unemployment, you plunge them into desperation. There are at least 30 million, probably more, Americans at this point utterly dependent on those $600, not just to keep their rent up to date, which they can barely do, but literally to keep food on the table. If you take that away, you plunge them into destitution. And why would the Republicans want to do that? Because destitute people who can't live anymore on what unemployment gives or doesn't give to them will be the perfect ploy, if you like, for businesses. They can now offer even lower wages, fewer benefits, because those desperate unemployed people will no longer have any option. That's what Larry Kudlow, Trump's advisor, means when he says he doesn't like the unemployment because it's not an incentive to work. That's fancy pants talk for forcing people into a situation of working for ridiculously low wages. And why would they prefer payroll tax? Because here's the game. If you give workers lower wages than they got before because they're desperate and they don't have any more unemployment supplement, you can soften the blow to those workers by saying, yes, we're paying you more, but we're going to take less out of your check. And for how long did the president threaten to do this? Till the end of the year, which just happens to be right after the election. And right after the election, Mr. Trump either won't be there or he won't have to care about what he's doing because he will have another term. So this is a game. Force workers to work for less and then let the employer soften the blow to those workers. Still a blow, but a little less because he'll be taking less for the federal government, which will plunge the federal government into even greater debt. But these new conservatives don't care about that. That was last year's issue. Now let's go to the Democrats. They don't want that. Thank goodness. They want to continue the unemployment. Oh my God, the extra $600. Absolutely the better choice. But a catastrophic choice. People who are unemployed feel bad about themselves. People who are unemployed have more physical, mental health problems. They suffer more from alcoholism, drug abuse. Their families fall apart. Having people unemployed is no policy for a decent government. What you should have done, what you could do now, is what we did in the 1930s. Federal government come in. You've got the economy on life support anyway. Hire these people. Build a Green New Deal. Repair our broken infrastructure. Rebuild the schools so that children will have a safe place to go rather than a dangerous one. Come on. Hire the people. Pay them a salary for a job they do that will benefit the country 50,000 times better than keeping millions on unemployment. But that's what we got. Trump and Biden. Screw the worker hard and screw them gently. Those are the choices. If ever I needed to say, capitalism is broken, we can do better, the system is the problem, now is that time. This is Richard Wolff for Democracy at Work.